Hello students, I welcome you all for my today's class. So coming to the continuation of gynecological examination of a patient, we have covered the history taking, we have also covered the breast examination method, and we have also covered the abdominal examination. So the next point is the pelvic examination or the pelvic exams, which is a very important part of a gynecological examination of a patient. So coming to the pelvic examination, we will be dealing with how to perform the pelvic examination, different types of bimanual examination, and its complete procedure. So coming to the pelvic examination includes first the inspection of the external genitalia. We should always start with the inspection of the external genitalia, whether external genitalia is free from any pathology or not, whether the skin contains any abnormality, any patches, any growths, etc. is to be noted. Then have to go for the vaginal examination. If external genitalia is free from any abnormality, just by the inspection we can see all those things, then we can go for the vaginal examination. In the vaginal examination, first again we have to start with the inspection. First of all, we have to look for the things, then we can palpate. Okay, first inspection of the cervix and the vaginal wall, we have to inspect properly. Then after inspection, the next method is a palpation of the vaginal cervix by the digital examination. With the help of fingers, we can palpate the vagina and the cervix. Then coming to the bimanual examination of the pelvic organ, then comes the bimanual examination, in which we, with the help of both hands, we have to examine the different pelvic organs, that is the uterus and the appendices, etc. So this is all about the vaginal examination. So vaginal examination includes the inspection, palpation, and the bimanual examination. So next point in the pelvic examination is the rectal examination. So vaginal examination, then comes the rectal examination, and the third one is the rectovaginal examination, that is examining both the rectum as well as the vagina simultaneously. So these all things comes under the pelvic examination. So pelvic examination includes, starts from first the inspection of the external genitalia, next the vaginal examination, third is the rectal examination, and fourth point is the rectovaginal examination. So coming to the prerequisites. So before starting the pelvic examination, what we have to do or what we can advise patient to do, so those are comes under the prerequisites. First, the patient's bladder must be empty, the only exception being a case of stress incontinence, where you have to ask patient to cough. On coughing, if the urine comes out, it indicates the stress incontinence. In all other remaining cases of gynecology, you should ask patient to empty the bladder before going for the examination. Next is a female attendant, that is a nurse or maybe the relative of a patient, should be present by the side. So we can allow the female attender to accompany the female patient, so that she can assist us, as well as the patient will not have the fear of doctor, so it will be easy for the side. So we can allow a female attender from our side, that is nurse, etc. If in absence of nurse, we can even allow the relative of a patient to be present by the side of the patient, and to relieve the anxiety of a patient also. Then third point is to examine a minor or unmarried girl. A consent from the parent or the guardian is required if you want to go for a pelvic examination in a minor means a girl who is less than 18 years of age, and if she is unmarried, then you have to take consent of the parents or her guardian before performing the pelvic examination. Okay, usually pelvic examination should not be done if there is unless and until if it is needed in cases of minors and unmarrieds. Then next is the bowel, lower bowel, rectum and pelvic colon should be preferably be empty again, because if the rectum is loaded with the feces, etc., then again it gives a false impression. So the bladder should be empty, the bowel, lower bowel should also be empty. A good light source should be available. The light should be focused on the part which we are going to examine. So a light source is also should be available. Then what we need is, we need a sterile gloves. Gloves should be sterile. sterile lubricant, preferably colorless without any antiseptics. Lubricant helps in performing the digital examination. Patient will not get the pain. So to reduce the pain, we use sterile lubricants. We should be free from the antiseptics. It should not contain any antiseptics, because in most of the cases, if we want to take the sample from the vagina or the cervix, if we are using antiseptic, means it gives a false reading. So the sterile lubricant should not contain any antiseptic agents. This is the point. Then we need instruments for the examination, like different speculums, sponge holding forceps, swabs. If we want to collect the vaginal or cervical secretion or a smear, then we need swabs, etc. So all these instruments should be kept ready beforehand using the going for the examination. The next point is, after doing all these things, second next point comes the position of the patient. The patient is commonly examined in the dorsal position with the knees flexed and the thighs abducted. See, this is the dorsal position with the knees flexed and her thighs abducted. And the physician usually stands on the right side. So physician or a gynecologist should stand on the right side of a patient. This position gives better view of the external genitalia, and the bimanual pelvic examination can be effectively performed. However, the patient can be examined in any position of the patient choice. If she is not comfortable in the dorsal position, we can examine her in the Sims or lithotomy position, etc. Also, lateral or Sims position. See, this is the lateral or Sims position. It seems ideal for inspecting any lesion in the anterior vaginal wall, as the vagina balloons with air as soon as the introitus is opened by a speculum. So this is the Sims position. You can see here the Sims position. It seems ideal for inspecting any type of lesions present in the anterior vaginal wall. So this is a Sims position. It is suitable for anterior vaginal wall pathologies. Next is the lithotomy position. That is a patient lying supine with her legs on the stirrups, is ideal for examination under anesthesia. So this is a lithotomy position. It is the most preferable position in cases of performing any vaginal surgery or any vaginal procedure. So this is the lithotomy position, and this is the dorsal position. So next point is the first point among the pelvic examination, the inspection of the vulva. Inspection, that is, by the seeing only we can come to know the different pathologies, like to note any anatomical abnormality starting from the pubic hair, clitoris, labia and the perineum. So we have to inspect all these parts completely. Pelvic hairs, whether pelvic hair growth is normal or not, the female escutcheon is maintained or not, that we have to see. Then clitoris, and the labia majora, labia minora, then perineum, how the perineum is intact or torn, etc. is to be noted. Then to note any palpable pathology over the areas, if there is any swelling or any type of tumor extra growth, that we can see before palpation. We can see and we can come to know. So we have to note all these points. Okay, to note the character of the visible vaginal discharges, if any discharges is coming out through the vagina, it can be found on the lower external genitalia, that we can also see. So character of the visible vaginal discharge, how the vaginal discharge looks, whether it is whitish, thick or yellowish, or any type of greenish or any type of discharge if it is coming, then we have to note the character of that discharges. Then to separate the labia using the finger of the left hand to note the external urethral meatus. So after the inspection, again we are using a method to inspect, that is with the help of the fingers of the left hand we have to separate the labia majora to expose the external urethral meatus. Why? Because visible opening of the, sometimes we can have to know the condition of the meatus. Then visible opening of the Bartholian ducts, normally which are not visible unless they are inflamed. So we can also see the Bartholian ducts in only if they are inflamed we can see the opening of the Bartholian ducts. And we can also come to know the character of the hymen, how the hymen is, whether it is the ruptured one or it is the carancule hymen, which is usually seen in the after the marriage, or if it is imperforate hymen, etc. can be known. and you can ask the patient to strain to elicit. After this, we can ask patient to strain. Stress incontinence. In case of stress incontinence, urine comes out through the urethral meatus. If she coughs, we can ask patient to strain. Then if the urine comes out through the external meatus, it indicates she is suffering from stress incontinence condition. Then genital prolapse and the structures involved. If the prolapse is there, then anterior vaginal wall prolapse, uterus alone, or the posterior vaginal wall, or all the three. So you can ask patient to strain. Then if it is anterior vaginal wall prolapse, we'll come to know which type of prolapse it is. If it is coming out on straining, etc., this is a test also to diagnose the prolapse condition. Then lastly, to look for the hemorrhoids, anal fissure, and fistula or the perineal tear. We can also look for the hemorrhoids, if there is presence of any piles or not, anal fissure is there or not, any perineal tears are there, etc., we can come to know. So these all points we can elicit only by the method of inspection. Next is the vaginal examination. So it again starts with the inspection of the vagina and the cervix. So for the inspection, we can go for the speculum examination, digital examination, or bimanual examination. So examination of the vagina or vaginal examination, coming to first the inspection of the vagina and the cervix. Which one is to be done first, inspection or palpation? So speculum examination should preferably be done prior to the bimanual examination. So always you should start with the per speculum examination before performing the vaginal examination. Why? Because the advantages are, we can take the cervical strap cytology or endocervical sampling can be done as screening in the same sitting. So before that, we can take the sampling if we want to take. And cervical and the vaginal discharge can be taken for bacteriological examination also. The cervical lesion may bleed during the bimanual examination, which make the lesion difficult to visualize. So if we are done first the vaginal examination, then what happens, suppose if there is any pathology, it starts bleeding, then we cannot visualize the lesion properly. That's why we always should start vaginal examination with the speculum examination, then we can go for the digital examination. So these are the advantages of performing the speculum examination. So coming to the speculum examination, two types of speculum are commonly used. Those are the Sims speculum and the Cusco's double wall or the biwall speculum. So while in the dorsal position, the Cusco's is widely used, but in the lateral position, the Sims variety has got advantages. The cervix is best visualized with the Cusco's variety, but while the vaginal fornices are only visualized by Cusco's, the anterior vaginal wall is to be visualized by the Sims variety. Sims speculum is advantageous in cases of the genital prolapse. So there are different types of, mainly the two types of the speculum. So we have to decide in which condition which speculum is better. So next is, apart from the inspection, collection of the discharges from the cervix and from the vaginal fornices and from the external urethral meatus is taken for bacteriological examination. It is a routine practice to take cervical scrape cytology and endocervical sampling for cytological examination in all patients as a screening procedure if not done recently. So you have to make a habit of taking cervical scrape or cytology, because nowadays cervical cancer is very common. So before performing this, with the help of speculum examination, we can collect the samples or of the discharges or for the smear from the cervix and the vaginal fornices, and also from the urethral meatus for bacteriological or for cytological examination purposes, okay, which is a screening purpose. So coming to the speculum, so you can see here, this is a Sims speculum. You can see it is made up of stainless steel. Now plastic varieties are also available. You can see the handle and you can see the grip in between, and here you can see the two blades of the Sims speculum. One is somewhat wider and another is somewhat smaller compared to. So it has two ends. We can use the ends accordingly, and there is a groove in between for the collection of any discharges while performing the speculum examination. So this is about the next variety of speculum. It is called as Cusco's speculum. Cusco's biwalled or double walled a self-retaining speculum, because see here it has two walls two walls with, and after introducing it into the vagina, we can open the two walls of the speculum, and here there is a screw also, so we can fix the screw, and it is also the self retaining one, because we don't need assistant when using the cusco speculum. And in the cases of sim speculum, one has to hold it in position, whereas cusco speculum, because it has these screws, so we can keep it inside without, we don't need any assistant to hold it, so it can be kept inside. That's why it is a self retaining one. So cusco speculum is of use, and you have to decide in which cases we want to use it. Speculum, yeah, two types, sims and cuscos. So coming to the method of the introduction of these speculums for the speculum examination. See, this is the method of introduction of the cusco speculum. How to introduce cusco speculum is given here. You can see here. The transverse diameter of the closed blades are placed in the anterior posterior position and slightly inserted slightly obliquely to minimize the pressure on the urethra. You can see here. So we have closed the two blades of the cusco speculum, and we have kept it in the anterior posterior position, and by separating the labia from the with the two fingers of the left hand, we are opening the openings of the vagina, and slowly we are inserting this closed bladed cusco speculum in the anterior posterior position and slightly obliquely, so this minimizes the pressure on the urethra. So next is, after inserting, blades are inserted in a downward position and then it is rotated. So we have to rotate it to the 90 degree, because we have, see, in this position we have inserted it. Then after insertion we have to rotate it to the 90 degree, and then after rotation we have to open up the blade slowly. So after inserting it and after rotating it to the 90 degree, we have to open the blades of the cusco speculum slowly. Then we can fix the screw. Then we need a good light source for the inspection. Then we can start the inspection in this position. See here, this is about the sim speculum. How to insert sim speculum is given here. Sim speculum need one more instrument for to perform the procedure, that is called as the anterior vaginal wall retractor. So we need one more instrument to use along with the sim speculum, that is the anterior vaginal wall retractor, so that we can retract the posterior vaginal wall with the help of sim speculum, and with the help of anterior vaginal wall retractor we can retract the anterior vaginal wall. Thus the field can be visualized properly. Next, about the digital examination method. Digital examination is done under a gloved index finger. So the digital examination is to be done using a gloved index finger lubricated with a sterile lubricant. In virgins with intact hymen, this examination is withheld. It should not be performed, but it can be employed under the anesthesia. So we should not do digital examination in the virgins unless and until, if it is very much needed, we can employ it with the permission of her guardian and in the with the under the anesthesia. Then what we have to do in the digital examination: palpation of any labial swelling. Commonly the Bartholian cyst or the abscess is made with the finger placed internally and the thumb placed externally. So we can palpate the Bartholian cyst or the abscess or the any labial swelling. So we have to start from the external genitalia. Then comes to the urethra. Urethra is now pressed from the above downwards for any discharges escapes out through the meatus. Then palpation of the vaginal walls is to be done from below upwards to detect any abnormality either in the wall or in the adjacent structures. Here you can see the palpation method of the labial swelling. This is the method of palpation of a Bartholin gland swelling. You can see in this diagram. With the help of an index finger and the thumb, we have to palpate any labial swelling if present. So next, coming to the palpation of the vaginal portion of the cervix is next palpated to note the direction. In anteverted uterus, the anterior lip is felt first, and in the retroverted position, either the external os or the posterior lip is felt first. So an anteverted, if it is there, the anterior lip of the cervix is felt first. If the retroverted position of the uterus is there, then we can feel the posterior lip or the external os first. Station, normally the external os is at the level of ischial spines. Texture, in non-pregnant state, it feels firm like the tip of the nose. So if the lady is non-pregnant, then the feel of the cervix is just like the tip of the nose, or in pregnant it is just feel like the soft lips. Shape, it is conical with the smooth surface in nullipara, but it is cylindrical in the parous women. External os, it is smooth and round in the nullipara, but may be dilated with the evidence of tear in the parous women. Movement, painful or not, have to be noted. It should not be painful, but in certain cases it may be painful if there is any presence of any infections. Whether it bleeds to touch or not is to be noted. The next is the integrity and tone of the perineal body is to be elicited by flexing the internal finger posteriorly and palpating the perineal body between the internal finger and the thumb placed externally. The finger is now turned laterally above the level of the levator muscles. The muscles can be palpated between the vaginal fingers and the thumb placed externally over the labia majus. Labia majus. So this is a method of palpation of the perineal body. So next is about the bimanual examination, that is with the help of both hands we have to perform this procedure. The techniques are difficult to describe in words, but perfectness will be achieved only through the experience. The gloved index finger and the middle finger smeared with the lubricants are to be inserted into the vagina. If the introitus is narrow or tender, one finger may be used. If the left hand is placed on the hypogastrium well above the symphysis pubis, so that the pelvic organs can be palpated between them. The examination should be methodical, gentle, but purposeful. To be more informative, abdominal hand is to be used more than the vaginal fingers, and the patient is asked to breathe through the mouth for better relaxation of the abdominal muscle. So this is a method of bimanual examination. Palpation of the uterus. Here what we have to do is palpation of the uterus, palpation of the uterine appendages, and the palpating the POD or the pouch of Douglas. First is the palpation of the uterus. So this a method of palpation is the two internal fingers which are placed in the anterior fornix exert a pushing force at the uterocervical junction in an upward direction towards the lumbar vertebrae and not towards the symphysis pubis. So with the two fingers in the vagina in the anterior cervix, you have to give a slight pressure, pushing type of force on the in the upward direction. Then the pressure exerted by the left hand should be not only the downward but from the behind forwards, and with the hand placed above the abdomen we have to give a pressure. It should be downward and not from the behind forward. The uterine outline between these two hands can thus be palpated clearly as an anteverted. If uterus is anteverted, then we can palpate the uterus in between the both hands. If the uterus is retroverted, it will not be felt but can be felt if the internal fingers push up the uterus through the posterior fornix. So if it is retroverted, you cannot feel the uterus easily. Thus what you have to do is internal fingers should be pushed up the uterus through the posterior fornix. We have to push the uterus through the posterior fornix, then we can feel the outline or the borders of the uterus in cases of retroverted uterus. No one should note what we should note with this, how to palpate the uterus is after this is a method of palpation. Then what and all the points we should note is, we should note for its position, we should note for its size, shape, consistency and mobility. Normally the uterus is anteverted, pear shape, firm and freely mobile in all directions. So the normal uterus is anteverted, pear shape, firm in consistency, and it is freely movable in all directions. See, this is a method of palpation of the uterus. So you can see here two fingers are placed in the vagina, and one is above the in the abdomen, that is on the pelvic area, that is on the hypogastrium, you can see. And with these two hands we are exerting a pressure in the from these internal fingers exerting upward pressure, and the external hand is exerting a downward pressure, so that we can feel the uterus in between the two hands properly. Next is about the pelvic examination step. Conduct internal palpation by manual. Insert index finger and the middle finger of the gloved lubricant hand into the vagina. So this is the method of the bimanual examination. The gloved index finger with the two fingers inside and one above the pelvic region. Pelvic examination step second. Conduct the internal palpation method. Palpate the cervix, palpate the uterine body between the vagina and the abdominal hands, vaginal and abdominal hands. Attempt to palpate the ovaries with the hand on the lower abdomen while vaginal hand pushes upwards. Palpate for the masses or tenderness. So you have to palpate all these things. Next is about the palpation of the uterine appendages. Palpation of the uterine appendages. Palpation of the adnexe. The vaginal fingers are placed. The vaginal fingers are placed in the lateral fornix and are pushed backwards and upwards. The counter pressure is applied by the abdominal hand placed to one side of the uterus in a backward direction. The normal uterine tube cannot be palpated. A normal ovary may not be felt. If it is palpable, it is mobile and sensitive to the manual pressure. Usually we cannot palpate the tubes and the ovaries unless and until if there is any pathology from the lateral fornices. Next is about the pouch of Douglas palpation. The pouch of Douglas can be examined effectively through the posterior fornix. That is from the behind side. We have to press all our fingers, internal fingers. Normally the fecal mass in the rectosigmoid or else the body of the retroverted uterus is only felt. So posteriorly we can feel through the retro. If the uterus is retroverted in position, we can feel it. Some pathology detected in the pouch of Douglas should be supplemented by the rectal examination. If we found any pathology in the pouch of Douglas, then we have to perform another method of examination, which is the rectal examination. Okay. So next is about the rectal or recto-abdominal examination. Rectal examination can be done in isolation or as an adjunct to the vaginal examination. It can be done along with the vaginal examination, or we can only perform the rectal examination. So what is the need or indications of rectal examination? If we can perform the vaginal, what is the need or indication of performing the rectal examination? A question arises, no? So coming to the indications of rectal examination, it can be performed in children or in adult virgins. It can be performed instead of performing the vaginal examination in children, we can go for the rectal examination, which is much better. And in the adult virgins also, it is better to go for the rectal examination instead of the vaginal examination. Painful vaginal examination, in condition when there is a painful vaginal examination, we can go for the rectal examination. In case of carcinoma cervix, CA cervix, to note the parametrial involvement, base of the broad ligament and the uterosacral ligaments can only be felt rectally, or the involvement of the rectum if present. To corroborate the finding felt in the pouch of Douglas by the bimanual vaginal examination. Then atresia or agenesis of vagina. Patients having rectal symptoms, and to diagnose rectocele and differentiate it from the enterocele, the lower bowel should preferably be empty. The recto-abdominal procedure is almost the same as that of the vaginal examination, except that only the gloved index finger smeared with the any lotion is to be introduced into the rectum. Next, coming to the rectovaginal examination, as the name itself suggests, here we are simultaneously examining the rectum as well as the vagina. The procedure consists of introducing the index finger in the vagina and the middle finger in the rectum. So how to perform is, we have to go for, see in the diagram you can see, index finger inside the vagina and the middle finger in the rectum. The examination may help to determine whether the lesion is in the bowel or in between the rectum and the vagina. Any thickening of the beadiness of uterosacral ligaments or presence of endometriotic nodules are to be noted. This is of a special help to differentiate a growth arising from the ovary or the rectum. See here the method of recto-abdominal and recto-vaginal examination. Recto-abdominal means one finger in the rectum, other on the abdomen, and recto-vaginal means one finger in index finger in the rectum and the middle finger in the index finger in the vagina and the middle finger in the rectum. And the bimanual examination also is done simultaneously. So coming to the recto-vaginal examination method, place pad of the middle finger, anal finger on the anus at the 45-degree angle. Then wait for the inspector to relax. 3 seconds minimum you have to wait. Then roll the index finger into the rectum slowly while inserting the index finger into the vagina. Roll the anal finger into the rectum slowly while inserting the index finger. Anal finger is the middle finger, into the rectum slowly while inserting the index finger into the vagina. Then palpate the septum between the two inserted fingers. Conduct bimanual examination also. Palpation of the cervix, uterus, adnexe, and perform 360-degree swab of the rectum. Examine for the masses present on the rectal wall. So coming to the identification method of a mass felt on the bimanual examination, that first is about the uterine tumor. Uterus is not separated from the mass, even cases of uterine tumor like that of fibroid, etc. Movement of the mass felt per abdomen are transmitted to the cervix and the vice versa, exception being only on the subserous pedunculated fibroid. Next is see here the method of identification of a uterine tumor in the bimanual examination. This is the adnexal mass. How to differentiate? And the uterus is separated from the mass if it is from the adnexe. Movement of a mass or tumor are not transmitted to the cervix, the exception being one if the mass is fixed with the uterus. See here, this is a method of identification of ovarian tumor in bimanual examination. Identification of an adnexal mass in the bimanual examination. You can see here how from the sides and from the lateral fornices, two fingers are inserted inside, and through the lateral fornices we are trying to fill the mass in the adnexe, and from the abdominal hand we are giving a downward slight pressure, and in between these two hands we can feel if there is any adnexal mass present. Okay, so this completes the gynecological examination. Thank you.